So one of my favorite things to do when we're in a big city, DC, Philadelphia, Chicago, is to drive around. People are so friendly. They let you move over. They realize, hey, this is an out-of-towner. Let's slow down, help them figure out where they're going. All the parking garages have plenty of room. There's places to park wherever you go. I mean, no planning involved at all. Yeah, none of that happens. It's pretty much chaos. When we had the Subaru, it wasn't as bad. I would kind of wing it in town, but with a larger vehicle like our cargo van, or if you have a truck. Now our cargo van's still big, but luckily it's, you know, anywhere from like 18 inches to 3 feet shorter than some of the trucks we could have gotten to pull this. So I am glad it's at least smaller, but it's still a tall vehicle, so the height can be an issue. I mean, some of these parking garages are like 6 feet tall max, 6'6". So I've had to come out and actually measure the height of the van to make sure we're not too tall for some of these garages, because I've seriously not seen one that's even 7 feet. I finally found some that are 6'8". When I measured, we're right at 6'8". So I'm hoping there's a couple inches to give on that. You can do outdoor parking, valet parking, stuff like that, but it's way more expensive. And so some tips when it comes to parking and driving around in a big city. Number one, keep loose change, quarters. You never know, especially on the weekend or if you're going later in the day, there might be spots on the side of the road, especially if you got a small car you're towing behind a motorhome, something like that. We did that all the time with our Subaru. We could whip in, parallel park somewhere, and it was cheap. I mean, you're talking like $2 or $3 to park instead of, good grief, I mean, New York City was like $60, and Philly wasn't that bad. But anyways, you're saving big bucks over like $30 to park somewhere if you keep the change around. Secondly, if you're gonna have to park in a garage, or if you look ahead of time and know it's difficult to park in the area, which is pretty likely in most cities that are larger like Chicago, use an app. And so by using these apps, you can actually save time and money because you book ahead. A lot of times you get a discount for using the app anyways, and you know where you're going. So you can go ahead and punch that in your GPS, because that's one of the things that's the toughest, is when you leave and looking for a destination. If you don't know where you're going and you're circling around and you're just saying, oh, I think there's something over there, and you start to pull in and realize, oh man, our vehicle's too tall, or it's full, or whatever the situation might be. So using these apps will save you a lot of time too. The third tip would be pay attention to when you're trying to park. A lot of times on the weekends and later in the day, it's easier to park. That's when you get those discounts, and that's when sometimes you can just park for free on the side of the road if it's certain times during the week or a certain time at night. It's windy, isn't it, Hensley? So last night, some pretty heavy wind. Blew our box over, and I had to bring in both of these because the wind was all coming this direction. And it was like shaking the RV. It was pretty serious wind. You get almost every noise imaginable when you stay in the city like this. Generator noises from things like these Prevos behind us, and seagulls, and traffic noise, large dogs, but I honestly don't even know where the large dogs are at. And trains.
So 6'8" at the parking garage was not for us. We did not fit. So now we're doing plan B, which is driving around looking for a spot, which is what we tried to avoid, but if you don't fit, you don't fit. So.
Now we know. When they 6'8", they say 6'8", they mean 6'8".
So about 30 minutes later, we finally found a parking spot, and I still think we're probably a good ways away from the zoo, so but we'll take what we can get at this point. If you're driving around places like this, I mean, take that into consideration into your travels, where you're going to be traveling, and if a big vehicle will be a nuisance to you or if it's doable. And we're not in cities as much as we are in places that it wouldn't matter.
Where are we going, Hensley?
To the zoo.
Totally worth it.
Pros and cons, van versus a large truck. The van wins this round. You do not see a lot of dualies around here. I haven't seen any dualies. You see anything like that? It's just,
I don't guess so.
You just don't bring the dually in town. Do miss the Subaru. what the vast majority of parking garages are like around here.
The camera.
Where's he going?
I don't remember their competition with that. How long has it been since I've seen a camera?
You don't see many of these at zoos, actually.
I rode one time.
You rode one?
Mm-hmm. In Petra. They spit.
You ever seen one of those?
I don't think so.
Where are they native? There's 15% of snakes worldwide are threats. Yeah, check out that viper. That's so cool. What would you do, Marissa?
No.
It's a West African gaboon viper. Look at that thing, man. That is crazy.
Look at it and tell us.
That thing means business.
Yeah. What stands out to me about Lincoln Park Zoo is the architecture. Like, you can tell it has a lot of history to it.
Like 150 years of history.
And I love that. I think it just made it so charming. I don't know, and it's really good. And it's free. They accept donations at the door, but I mean, can't beat that, right?
Yeah, it's right here in the city. So you got the city backdrop, which is beautiful too.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not into zoos, I mean, I think it's a really good place just to stroll. I like these city zoos, especially when they don't charge, because they're like, they feel like they're a part of the city. You just kind of, you don't have this gate and the tickets and all that. People are just like jogging through here for exercise and stuff and riding bikes and walking through like it's just a part of the city.
I think it's been really cool that as we've been traveling, we found a lot of city zoos like that. And actually our favorite zoo that we have been to so far was the St. Louis Zoo. She is. You were asking for the snakes. Nope. She's about to get a lesson. They're wrestling.
Got a little bit of, yeah, they're just wrestling, Hensley.
Glad you're Well, we weren't the only ones that had a good day. It was a free zoo, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
What is that?
What does that say?
Man.
Truck baby? What in the world?
Look them up on Facebook.
What'd you
Kangaroo.
see? You saw a kangaroo? What does a kangaroo do?
Jump, jump, jump.
Hensley, what else did you see? A kangaroo and
Rhino.
a rhino. How's that rhino go? We've really enjoyed Chicago, even though it's not maybe one of the easier cities to get around by car by the time you like find a place to park and deal with traffic and everything, but it's not the worst city in the world to navigate. You know, I know New York, DC, those were definitely worse as far as navigating in and around the city. DC, if you've ever seen DC, like the roundabouts, they're like multiple lane roundabouts. And like I saw it, I thought, so scary. I think I might have done it once or twice in the Subaru, but never during rush hour. Well, we are going to call it a night, and we will catch you guys later.